Welcome to another journey through the quiet corridors of history, where we'll discover the remarkable purchasing power of a single coin in medieval times. Tonight, we're traveling back to an age of candlelit markets and cobblestone streets, where the value of money held meanings that would astonish us today. Whether you're settling in for a peaceful evening or simply seeking the gentle rhythm of historical storytelling, I'm grateful you've chosen to spend this time exploring the fascinating world of medieval commerce with me. Picture yourself standing in the bustling marketplace of 13th century London, clutching a single silver penny in your palm. The coin feels substantial between your fingers, its weight speaking to the precious metal from which it was crafted. Around you, merchants call out their wares while customers haggle over prices that seem impossibly small by today's standards. The air carries the mingled scents of fresh bread, leather goods, and spices from distant lands, all available for purchase, with coins that could fit comfortably in your closed fist. That single penny you hold represents far more than its modern equivalent might suggest. In medieval England, 1 penny could secure you a loaf of bread, substantial enough to feed a family for an entire day. The baker's apprentice would hand you a round, crusty creation, still warm from the stone ovens, its golden surface marked with the crossed pattern that identified its maker. This wasn't the light processed bread we know today, but a dense, nutritious creation made from carefully ground grain that provided the foundation for medieval sustenance. But bread was only the beginning of what your penny could accomplish in the medieval marketplace. A single coin could purchase a gallon of the finest ale, the drink of choice for people of all ages when water sources remained questionable at best. The tavern keeper would fill your leather flask with amber liquid brewed from barley and flavoured with herbs, creating a beverage that was both nourishing and safe to consume. Medieval ale served as liquid bread, providing calories and nutrients essential for the hard physical labour that defined daily life for most people. Your penny could also secure a pound of the best cheese available in the market, aged carefully in monastery cellars where monks perfected the art of dairy preservation. These wheels of cheese, wrapped in cloth and sealed with wax, represented months of careful cultivation and aging. The flavours were rich and complex, developed through techniques passed down through generations of religious communities, who understood that food preservation meant survival through the harsh winter months. In the textile section of the market, that same penny would purchase enough wool cloth to create a simple garment. The fabric seller would measure out yards of sturdy material woven from sheep's fleece, dyed with natural colours extracted from plants and minerals found in the surrounding countryside. This cloth would become a tunic, a cloak, or undergarments that could last for years with proper care and mending. The purchasing power extended beyond basic necessities into the realm of tools and implements that shaped medieval life. A single penny could buy you a well-crafted iron knife, forged by the local blacksmith and sharp enough to serve multiple purposes from food preparation to craft work. These knives were treasured possessions, carefully maintained and often passed down through generations as valuable family heirlooms. For those seeking entertainment or education, a penny could purchase a small book of hours, hand-copied by monastery scribes on precious parchment. These books contained prayers, psalms, and sometimes illustrated margins that brought colour and beauty into lives, often marked by hardship and uncertainty. Books were rare and valuable, making this purchase equivalent to acquiring a luxury item that demonstrated both wealth and education. The spice merchant's stall offered exotic possibilities for your single coin. A penny could secure small quantities of pepper, cinnamon, or other precious seasonings that had travelled thousands of miles along dangerous trade routes. These spices were literally worth their weight in silver, transforming simple meals into feasts worthy of noble tables. The aromatic powders were carefully measured and wrapped in small cloth pouches, representing connections to distant lands that most medieval people would never see. Your penny could also provide access to services that defined medieval urban life, A skilled craftsman would sharpen your tools, repair your shoes, or mend your household items for the price of a single coin. These services were essential in a world where replacing damaged goods often proved impossible or prohibitively expensive. The cobbler would carefully resole your leather boots, extending their useful life by months or even years. In the livestock section of the market, a penny might secure you several chickens or a young pig, animals that would provide ongoing sustenance through eggs, milk, or eventual meat. These living investments offered security against future hunger while requiring minimal daily care and feeding. A small flock of chickens could supply a family with protein for months, making this purchase both practical and forward-thinking. The purchasing power of medieval money reflected economic realities vastly different from our modern experience. Labour was abundant and inexpensive, while manufactured goods required extensive handcrafting that made them precious and durable. A single skilled craftsman might work for days creating an item that today's machinery could produce in minutes, but the medieval creation would last for decades with proper maintenance. Regional variations significantly affected what your penny could purchase, as transportation costs and local specialties created dramatic price differences between markets. A penny spent in coastal areas might secure fresh fish that would be impossible to obtain inland, while mountain regions offered wool and leather goods at prices that seemed miraculous to lowland dwellers. The seasonal cycle also influenced purchasing power as harvest times brought abundance and lower prices, while winter months saw scarcity drive costs higher. A wise medieval consumer understood these rhythms, purchasing grain after harvest when supplies were plentiful and storing preserved foods for the lean months that inevitably followed. Currency itself took various forms throughout medieval Europe, with different regions producing coins of varying purity and weight. The English penny contained approximately 1.5 grams of silver, while French deniers and German pfennigs offered different metal compositions that affected their purchasing power in international trade. The medieval penny's buying power stemmed from the intrinsic value of the precious metal from which it was crafted. Unlike modern currency backed by government promises, these coins carried worth through their silver content, making them trusted media of exchange across vast distances and between different kingdoms. Monastic communities often served as centers of economic activity, producing goods that commanded premium prices due to their quality and reputation. The abbey's bakery, brewery, and workshops created products that travelers sought specifically, knowing that religious dedication to craftsmanship ensured superior quality. A penny spent at monastery markets often secured goods that exceeded expectations. The guild system that governed medieval crafts ensured quality standards that justified the prices commanded by various goods. Master craftsmen, who had completed years of apprenticeship and training, produced items that met strict specifications, making purchases reliable investments in quality rather than gambles on uncertain merchandise. Trade networks stretched across continents, bringing exotic goods to local markets where pennies could purchase items that had travelled incredible distances. Silk from China, spices from India, and precious stones from Africa all found their way to European markets, where single coins could secure small quantities of these treasured imports. The social significance of purchases extended beyond mere commerce, as what you bought and where you shopped communicated your status, values, and connections within the medieval community. The marketplace served as a social gathering place where relationships were built and maintained through the simple act of buying and selling goods. Medieval banking, though primitive by modern standards, played a crucial role in determining what your penny could accomplish beyond the immediate marketplace. Money changers stationed at market entrances would exchange foreign coins for local currency. Their wooden tables covered with small scales and testing stones used to verify the purity of precious metals. These financial intermediaries charged modest fees, often just a fraction of a penny, making international commerce accessible to ordinary travelers and merchants. The concept of credit existed even in medieval times, allowing your purchasing power to extend beyond the coins in your purse. Local merchants often maintained informal networks of trust, where a penny down payment could secure goods worth several times that amount, with the balance paid through future labour or agricultural products. This system of deferred payment enabled families to acquire necessities during lean seasons, paying back their debts when circumstances improved. Seasonal markets brought extraordinary opportunities where a single penny could secure goods normally beyond reach. During harvest festivals, farmers eager to convert produce into coin before spoilage occurred would offer remarkable bargains. Your penny might purchase bushels of apples, sacks of root vegetables, or quantities of grain that would sustain a household through winter months. These periodic abundance created brief windows where purchasing power multiplied dramatically. The role of women in medieval commerce reveals fascinating aspects of penny purchasing power. Market women, often widows or wives of craftsmen, operated small businesses selling everything from baked goods to medicinal herbs. Their stalls offered items perfectly suited to single penny transactions, creating economic opportunities that allowed women to achieve degrees of financial independence rare in medieval society. A penny could buy herbal remedies prepared by these knowledgeable practitioners, treatments for common ailments that provided genuine medical benefit. Pilgrimage routes created unique economic opportunities where your penny could secure services and goods tailored to spiritual travelers. Inns along these sacred pathways offered simple meals, basic lodging, and religious souvenirs for modest fees. A penny could purchase a pewter badge marking your visit to a holy shrine, a tangible symbol of spiritual journey that carried deep personal meaning while supporting local craftsmen who specialized in pilgrim trade. The medieval understanding of value differed fundamentally from modern concepts, emphasizing durability and utility over convenience or novelty. Items purchased with your penny were expected to last for years, making each transaction an investment in long-term survival and prosperity. This mentality encouraged careful consideration of every purchase, as replacing damaged or worn goods often proved difficult or impossible in isolated communities. Urban growth during the medieval period created new markets where penny purchasing power could access increasingly specialized goods and services. City dwellers could use their coins to buy prepared foods, professional services, and manufactured items that rural communities produced for themselves. A penny might secure a hot meal from a street vendor, allowing urban workers to maximize their productive time rather than spending hours on food preparation. The influence of religious festivals and holy days on commerce created temporary fluctuations in purchasing power that savvy medieval consumers learned to exploit. During certain religious observances, charitable giving increased dramatically, sometimes allowing the poor to purchase goods at reduced prices or receive services normally beyond their means. Your penny might stretch further during these periods of heightened spiritual generosity. Military campaigns and warfare significantly impacted local purchasing power as armies required vast quantities of supplies that could strain regional resources. However, these same military needs often created opportunities for civilians to earn extra income by providing services to soldiers and officers. A penny could purchase information about troop movements, safe passage through contested areas, or access to military surplus items that enterprising merchants acquired through various means. The apprenticeship system that governed medieval crafts created interesting purchasing opportunities, where your penny could access the services of young craftsmen learning their trades. These apprentices often worked for reduced fees while gaining experience, allowing customers to obtain quality work at lower costs. Your coin might purchase repairs, small manufactured items, or basic services performed under master supervision, but at apprentice prices. Medieval entertainment, though simple by modern standards, offered numerous ways to spend your penny on temporary pleasures and social experiences. Street performers, traveling minstrels, and storytellers provided entertainment for small fees, creating shared experiences that brought communities together. A penny could secure admission to mystery plays performed in church courtyards, offering both spiritual instruction and dramatic entertainment. The preservation of food represented one of the most crucial medieval technologies. and your penny could purchase various preserved items that extended far beyond their apparent value. Salted meats, dried fruits, pickled vegetables, and fermented dairy products offered nutrition and flavor months after their original production. These preserved foods often traveled well, making them valuable for traders and travelers who needed portable sustenance. Medicinal knowledge in medieval times blended practical experience with spiritual belief, creating a market for remedies and treatments that a penny could easily afford. Local healers sold herbal preparations, blessed waters, and simple medical procedures that addressed common health concerns. While these treatments varied widely in effectiveness, they provided comfort and hope to people facing illness with limited medical options. The transportation of goods across medieval Europe created networks of commerce where your penny could purchase items that had traveled remarkable distances. Pack trains, river barges, and coastal ships carried goods between regions, making exotic items available in local markets at prices that reflected both their origin value and transportation costs. This extensive trade meant that even modest purchases could connect you to distant cultures and economies. Seasonal labor patterns affected purchasing power, as different times of year offered varying opportunities for both earning and spending money. Harvest seasons brought temporary wealth to agricultural communities, while winter months often saw reduced economic activity and lower prices for non-essential goods. Understanding these cycles allowed medieval consumers to maximize their purchasing power by timing their acquisitions strategically. The medieval concept of charity created economic relationships where your penny could access goods and services through religious institutions that served community needs beyond pure commerce. Monasteries, convents, and church organizations often provided essential services at subsidized rates, making medical care, education, and food assistance available to those who might otherwise lack access to these necessities. Craft specialization reached remarkable levels in medieval cities, where your penny could purchase items requiring extraordinary skill and knowledge to produce. Master craftsmen devoted their entire lives to perfecting techniques passed down through generations, creating goods that represented the pinnacle of medieval technology and artistry. These specialized items often lasted for decades, making them excellent investments despite their sometimes higher initial costs. The social fabric of medieval communities relied heavily on economic relationships built through small-scale commerce, where penny transactions created bonds of mutual dependence and trust. Regular customers developed relationships with merchants that extended beyond simple buying and selling, creating networks of support that helped communities survive difficult periods. Your repeated penny purchases helped maintain these crucial social connections. The complexity of medieval taxation systems reveals another fascinating dimension of penny purchasing power, as different authorities levied various fees that could dramatically affect what your coin could accomplish. Local lords imposed market tolls, church authorities collected tithes, and royal representatives gathered customs duties that created a patchwork of financial obligations. However, these same systems often provided opportunities where a penny could secure exemptions or reduced rates for certain transactions, particularly during religious holidays or special circumstances that encouraged charitable giving. Professional guilds maintained strict control over pricing and quality within their respective trades, ensuring that your penny would purchase goods meeting established standards regardless of which craftsman produced them. These organizations served as medieval quality assurance systems, guaranteeing that a penny spent on guild-certified products would deliver consistent value. The guild halls themselves became centers of commerce where members displayed their finest work, creating marketplace environments where single coins could access the very best medieval craftsmanship. Watermills and windmills dotting the medieval landscape provided essential services that a penny could easily purchase. Grain grinding, cloth fulling, and various industrial processes powered by natural forces made these facilities accessible to common people who needed professional processing of their raw materials. Your penny could transform a sack of grain into flour, convert raw wool into finished cloth, or process other materials using technologies that individual households could never afford to own. The medieval understanding of debt and credit created sophisticated financial relationships where your immediate penny could leverage much larger economic opportunities. Merchant families often maintained complex networks of obligation that allowed small initial payments to secure valuable goods, with repayment terms that reflected seasonal income patterns and agricultural cycles. These arrangements enabled people to make significant purchases during prosperous periods, while managing payments during leaner times. Regional specializations created economic niches, where certain areas became renowned for specific products that commanded premium prices throughout Europe. Flemish textiles, German metalwork, Italian silks, and English wool developed reputations that made them sought-after commodities in distant markets. A penny spent in these specialized regions could secure goods that would cost significantly more elsewhere, making travel and trade worthwhile pursuits for enterprising medieval merchants. The role of fairs and market days in medieval economic life cannot be overstated, as these regular gatherings brought together buyers and sellers from vast areas, creating temporary cities where your penny could access goods normally unavailable in local markets. These events often featured entertainment, religious services, and social activities alongside commercial transactions, making them important cultural institutions where economic and social life intertwined seamlessly. Medieval record-keeping, though limited by literacy rates and available materials, reveals fascinating details about price variations and purchasing patterns that illuminate how people used their pennies. Monastery accounts, royal household records, and merchant ledgers provide glimpses into economic life that show remarkable consistency in certain prices, while revealing dramatic fluctuations in others based on supply, demand, and external circumstances. The concept of apprenticeship wages demonstrates how pennies related to labor value in medieval society. Young craftsmen learning their trades often worked for nominal compensation, sometimes earning only a few pennies per week along with food and shelter. These modest wages reveal the relationship between money and time that characterize medieval economic thinking, where patience and long-term investment were valued over immediate gratification. International trade routes brought exotic goods within reach of penny purchases, as merchants understood that profit margins depended on volume sales rather than exclusively serving wealthy customers. Small quantities of precious spices, rare dyes, fine fabrics, and luxury items became available in portions that ordinary people could afford, democratizing access to goods that had previously been reserved for nobility and wealthy merchants. The medieval calendar of religious observances created rhythmic patterns of economic activity, where certain times of year offered exceptional purchasing opportunities. Lenten restrictions on consumption often led to reduced prices for meat and dairy products, while harvest Thanksgiving celebrations brought abundance that temporarily lowered food costs. Your penny could accomplish more during these cyclical periods of plenty. Technological innovations slowly spreading throughout medieval Europe created new possibilities for penny purchases, as improved manufacturing techniques made goods more affordable and widely available. Better metalworking produced sharper tools, improved textile machinery, created finer fabrics, and enhanced agricultural implements, increased food production, all contributing to economic growth that benefited consumers at every level. The institution of medieval hospitality created economic relationships where your penny could access services that extended far beyond their apparent monetary value. Inns, monasteries, and private households often provided food, shelter, and assistance to travelers for modest fees that reflected religious obligations and social customs, rather than pure commercial calculation. These arrangements made long-distance travel feasible for people of modest means. Urban sanitation and public health concerns created markets for services that a penny could readily purchase. Street cleaners, waste removal specialists, and public bathhouse operators provided essential services that maintained community health, while offering employment opportunities for people with minimal capital investment requirements. These public health services became increasingly important as medieval cities grew larger and more densely populated. The medieval emphasis on personal relationships in commercial transactions meant that your penny purchases often included intangible benefits such as credit, advice, priority service, and access to special opportunities that extended well beyond the immediate transaction. Merchants valued repeat customers and often provided additional services that strengthened ongoing business relationships. Professional entertainment reached sophisticated levels in medieval cities, where your penny could purchase admission to performances that rivaled modern productions in their complexity and artistic achievement. Mystery plays, musical performances, storytelling competitions, and various forms of theatrical entertainment provided cultural enrichment that made urban life more attractive and economically viable for increasing numbers of people. The medieval judicial system created markets for legal services where a penny could purchase advice, documentation, or representation in various legal matters. Professional scribes, legal advisors, and court officials offered services that helped ordinary people navigate complex legal requirements while protecting their rights and interests. These services democratized access to justice in ways that purely informal systems could not achieve. Seasonal migration patterns affected local purchasing power as workers moved between regions following agricultural cycles, construction projects, and seasonal employment opportunities. Your penny could purchase different goods and services depending on local labor availability and economic conditions that fluctuated with these population movements. Understanding these patterns helped medieval consumers maximize their purchasing opportunities. The preservation and storage of wealth in medieval times often involved converting coins into durable goods that retained value while serving practical purposes. Your penny could purchase items such as quality tools, precious metals, fine textiles, or other goods that functioned as both useful possessions and stored wealth that could be converted back to currency when circumstances required. Medieval marriage customs and family economics created interesting dynamics where penny purchases often served multiple purposes within extended family networks. Items bought for immediate use might also serve as dowry contributions, inheritance assets, or gifts that strengthened family relationships and social connections that extended far beyond their immediate monetary value. The development of medieval universities and centers of learning created markets for intellectual services and educational materials that a penny could access. Copying services, tutoring, letter writing, and various forms of scholarly assistance became available to people seeking to improve their knowledge and skills. These educational investments often paid long-term dividends that far exceeded their initial costs. Regional conflicts and political instability created both challenges and opportunities for penny purchases, as warfare disrupted normal economic patterns, while creating demand for military supplies, refugee assistance, and reconstruction services. Your coin could purchase items and services that served both immediate survival needs and longer-term recovery efforts in communities affected by political upheaval. The medieval emphasis on craftsmanship and quality created markets where your penny could purchase goods designed to last for generations with proper care and maintenance. This durability-focused approach to manufacturing meant that even modest purchases represented significant long-term value, encouraging consumers to invest in quality rather than seeking the lowest possible prices. Community cooperation and mutual assistance networks in medieval society meant that your penny purchases often connected you to broader systems of reciprocal obligation and support that provided security and assistance during difficult times. These social safety nets made individual economic decisions part of larger community survival strategies that benefited everyone involved. The medieval concept of pilgrimage created unique economic opportunities where your penny could purchase spiritual benefits alongside material goods and services. Pilgrim badges, blessed objects, religious texts, and various forms of spiritual assistance became important market categories that served deep human needs while supporting local economies along major pilgrimage routes. Technological knowledge and trade secrets represented valuable commodities in medieval society, where your penny could sometimes purchase access to specialized information that enabled improved productivity or quality in various crafts and industries. This knowledge economy operated alongside the material economy, creating opportunities for people with expertise to monetize their skills and experience. The seasonal availability of fresh foods created economic rhythms where your penny could purchase abundant quantities of certain items during brief harvest periods, requiring preservation techniques and storage capabilities that extended the value of these purchases throughout the year. Understanding these natural cycles became essential skills for effective household economic management. Medieval concepts of honor and reputation influenced commercial relationships in ways that could significantly affect what your penny could accomplish in different social contexts. Established merchants with good reputations often provided better value, more reliable goods, and superior service compared to unknown vendors, making relationship building an important aspect of effective medieval consumption. The gradual monetization of medieval economies meant that your penny could increasingly purchase services and goods that had previously been available only through barter, feudal obligation, or family production. This transition created new opportunities for specialization and economic efficiency, while sometimes disrupting traditional social relationships and community structures. Transportation innovations such as improved road construction, bridge building, and navigation techniques gradually reduced the costs of moving goods between regions, allowing your penny to purchase items that had traveled greater distances while remaining affordable. These infrastructure improvements created economic benefits that extended far beyond their immediate transportation purposes. The medieval workshop system created economic relationships where your penny could purchase goods at various stages of completion, allowing customers to balance cost considerations with personal time and skill availability. Raw materials, partially finished goods, and completed products all offered different value propositions that suited different customer needs and financial capabilities. The medieval apprenticeship system created fascinating opportunities where your penny could purchase instruction and knowledge alongside material goods. Master craftsmen often accepted small payments from eager students who wished to learn specialized techniques during their spare time. Your single coin could secure lessons in metalworking, wood carving, textile production, or other valuable skills that would serve you throughout your lifetime. These informal educational arrangements operated parallel to formal apprenticeships, making knowledge accessible to people who could not commit to years of unpaid service. Seasonal festivals and religious celebrations transformed purchasing power in remarkable ways as communities came together to mark important occasions. During these special times, your penny could access foods, entertainment, and experiences that were otherwise unavailable throughout the regular year. Harvest festivals brought elaborate feasts where a single coin could secure portions of roasted meats, honey cakes, and spiced wines that represented months of careful preparation and community cooperation. The medieval postal system, though primitive by modern standards, offered services that your penny could utilize to maintain connections across vast distances. Professional messengers carried letters between towns and cities, charging modest fees that made long-distance communication accessible to ordinary citizens. Your coin could purchase the delivery of important news, business correspondence, or personal messages that maintained relationships and conducted affairs across the expanding medieval world. Medical practices in medieval times created unique markets where your penny could purchase treatments and remedies that reflected both practical knowledge and spiritual belief. Barber surgeons offered services ranging from tooth extraction to bloodletting for modest fees, while herbalists sold preparations that addressed common ailments using plants and minerals gathered from local environments. These medical services, though limited by contemporary understanding, provided genuine relief and comfort to people facing illness and injury. The development of medieval banking houses in major commercial centers created opportunities where your penny could access financial services that extended your economic reach beyond immediate cash holdings. Money changers, early bankers, and merchant financiers offered services such as currency exchange, safe storage, and credit arrangements that enabled larger transactions and long-distance trade participation. These financial innovations democratized access to sophisticated economic tools. Textile production in medieval times created complex supply chains where your penny could purchase goods at various stages of completion, from raw wool and flax to finished garments and household linens. The spinning, weaving, dyeing, and finishing processes each offered opportunities for penny purchases that allowed customers to balance cost considerations with their own time and skill availability. This flexibility made quality textiles accessible to people with varying economic circumstances. The medieval construction industry provided numerous opportunities where your penny could purchase materials and services essential for building and maintaining homes, workshops, and community facilities. Quarried stone, cut timber, iron fittings, and specialized labor all became available through penny transactions that enabled families to improve their living conditions gradually over time. Master builders often accepted small payments for advice and planning services that helped ordinary people construct durable structures. Food preservation techniques crucial for medieval survival created markets where your penny could purchase both preserved foods and the knowledge necessary to create these essential supplies. Smoking, salting, pickling, and drying services transformed perishable foods into stable provisions that could sustain families through winter months and periods of scarcity. Learning these preservation methods often proved more valuable than purchasing the preserved foods themselves. The medieval emphasis on personal security created markets for protection services that a penny could access in various forms. Night watchmen, escort services for dangerous journeys, and basic security advice became available to ordinary citizens who needed protection but could not afford private guards or extensive weaponry. These services provided peace of mind and practical safety benefits that enhanced quality of life significantly. Regional craft specializations created opportunities for your penny to purchase items that represented the finest achievements of medieval technology and artistry. Certain areas became renowned for specific products such as Toledo steel, Venetian glass, Flemish tapestries, or English longbows. Purchasing these specialized goods, even in small quantities, connected you to networks of international trade and cultural exchange that spanned continents. The medieval understanding of time and labor created interesting relationships between penny purchases and work arrangements that differed dramatically from modern employment concepts. Piecework, seasonal labor, and task-specific employment all offered opportunities where your coin could purchase specific services or products without long-term obligations. This flexibility allowed both workers and customers to adapt to changing circumstances and seasonal demands. Transportation services beyond simple goods movement became increasingly sophisticated throughout the medieval period, offering opportunities where your penny could purchase access to various forms of travel assistance. Ferry operators, bridge toll collectors, and road maintenance crews provided essential services that made long-distance travel safer and more reliable. These infrastructure services supported economic development by reducing the costs and risks of commercial activities. The medieval calendar of saints' days and religious observances created rhythmic patterns of economic opportunity where certain types of purchases became more advantageous during specific periods. Religious restrictions on certain activities often led to reduced prices for affected goods and services, while feast days brought abundance and celebration that temporarily altered normal pricing patterns. Understanding these cycles enabled savvy consumers to maximize their purchasing power. Professional entertainment in medieval cities reached levels of sophistication that rivaled modern productions in their complexity and artistic achievement. Your penny could purchase admission to elaborate performances that combined music, drama, acrobatics, and storytelling in ways that provided both cultural enrichment and social entertainment. These performances often served educational purposes as well, transmitting historical knowledge and moral instruction through engaging artistic presentations. The medieval guild system's control over quality and pricing created reliable markets where your penny could purchase goods meeting established standards regardless of which specific craftsman produced them. Guild certification served as medieval quality assurance, guaranteeing that purchases would meet expectations and provide appropriate value. This standardization made purchasing decisions simpler while protecting consumers from inferior products. Water-powered machinery revolutionized medieval production capabilities, creating opportunities where your penny could access services that would have been impossible or prohibitively expensive using only human labor. Mills for grinding grain, fulling cloth, and powering various industrial processes made professional quality results available to ordinary customers at reasonable prices. These technological advances democratized access to sophisticated manufacturing capabilities. The medieval concept of sanctuary and religious protection created unique economic relationships where your penny could purchase not only goods and services, but also forms of spiritual and legal protection that extended beyond material transactions. Church authorities offered various forms of assistance and protection that helped people navigate complex social and legal challenges while providing genuine security in uncertain times. International trade networks brought exotic goods within reach of penny purchases, as merchants understood that profit margins often depended on volume sales rather than exclusively serving wealthy customers. Small quantities of precious spices, rare dyes, fine fabrics, and luxury items became available in portions that ordinary people could afford, creating democratic access to goods that connected local communities to global trade networks. The medieval emphasis on personal relationships in commercial transactions meant that your penny purchases often included intangible benefits such as credit terms, priority service, special access, and various forms of assistance that strengthened ongoing business relationships. Merchants valued repeat customers and often provided additional services that created mutual loyalty and long-term commercial partnerships. Educational opportunities in medieval society created markets where your penny could purchase various forms of instruction and knowledge that provided long-term benefits far exceeding their immediate costs. Reading lessons, mathematical instruction, legal advice, and technical training all became available to people seeking to improve their skills and knowledge. These educational investments often enabled significant improvements in economic circumstances and social status. The preservation of wealth in medieval times often involved converting coins into durable goods that retained value while serving practical purposes. Your penny could purchase quality tools, precious objects, fine textiles, or other items that functioned as both useful possessions and stored wealth that could be converted back to currency when circumstances required. This approach to wealth management provided security against economic uncertainty. Medieval marriage customs and family economics created complex networks, where penny purchases often served multiple purposes within extended family and community relationships. Items bought for immediate use might also function as dowry contributions, inheritance assets, or gifts that strengthened social connections, extending far beyond their immediate monetary value. These multi-purpose purchases maximize the social and economic benefits of limited financial resources. The development of medieval universities and centers of learning created entirely new categories of services that your penny could purchase. Copying services, tutoring, letter writing, translation work, and various forms of scholarly assistance became available to people seeking to improve their knowledge and skills. These intellectual services often provided returns on investment that lasted throughout entire lifetimes. Seasonal migration patterns of workers created fluctuating local economies, where your penny could purchase different goods and services depending on temporary population changes and varying labor availability. Understanding these population movements helped medieval consumers identify optimal timing for various purchases, while taking advantage of temporary abundance or scarcity in local markets. The medieval judicial system required various forms of documentation and representation that penny purchases could provide. Professional scribes, legal advisors, and court officials offered services that helped ordinary people navigate complex legal requirements while protecting their rights and interests. These services democratized access to justice in ways that purely informal legal systems could never achieve. Community cooperation networks in medieval society meant that your penny purchases often connected you to broader systems of mutual obligation and support that provided security during difficult times. These social safety nets made individual economic decisions part of larger community survival strategies that created resilience against various forms of crisis and uncertainty. The gradual monetization of medieval economies meant that your penny could increasingly purchase services and goods that had previously been available only through barter, feudal obligation, or family production. This transition created new opportunities for specialization and economic efficiency, while sometimes disrupting traditional social relationships that had governed community life for generations. The medieval workshop system offered customers choices about purchasing goods at various stages of completion, allowing them to balance cost considerations with their own time and skill availability. Raw materials, partially finished products, and completed goods all provided different value propositions that suited varying customer needs and financial capabilities, creating flexible purchasing options. Professional associations beyond craft guilds began emerging during the later medieval period, creating new categories of services that penny purchasers could access. These organizations provided everything from insurance-like protection arrangements to professional certification services that helped members establish credibility and build successful businesses in increasingly competitive markets. The medieval understanding of honor and reputation influenced commercial relationships in ways that could significantly affect what your penny could accomplish in different social contexts. Established merchants with good reputations often provided better value, more reliable goods, and superior service compared to unknown vendors, making relationship building an essential aspect of effective medieval commerce. Transportation innovations such as improved road construction, better bridge engineering, and enhanced navigation techniques gradually reduced the costs of moving goods between regions. These infrastructure improvements allowed your penny to purchase items that had traveled greater distances while remaining affordable, creating economic benefits that extended far beyond their immediate transportation purposes. The medieval concept of pilgrimage created unique economic opportunities where your penny could purchase spiritual benefits alongside material goods and services. Pilgrim badges, blessed objects, religious texts, and various forms of spiritual assistance became important market categories that served deep human needs while supporting local economies along major pilgrimage routes throughout Europe and beyond. As we continue our gentle exploration of medieval purchasing power, we find ourselves immersed in a world where every transaction carried meanings that extended far beyond simple commerce, creating social bonds and economic relationships that shaped the very fabric of medieval society. The medieval understanding of time itself created fascinating purchasing opportunities where your penny could secure services that operated according to natural rhythms rather than mechanical precision. Sundial makers, bell ringers, and timekeepers offered their specialized knowledge to communities that needed to coordinate activities around agricultural cycles and religious observances. Your single coin could purchase the installation of a simple sundial or the services of someone who would call out the hours throughout the day, creating shared temporal awareness that enabled more sophisticated social and economic coordination. Manuscript illumination represented one of the highest forms of medieval artistry, yet your penny could access aspects of this elaborate craft through various smaller services. Scribes offered to add decorative initial letters to personal documents, create simple illustrations for family records, or provide basic calligraphy services that transformed ordinary writing into beautiful artistic expressions. These services made the aesthetic achievements of monastery scriptoriums accessible to ordinary people who valued beauty alongside utility. The medieval fascination with relics and blessed objects created unique markets where your penny could purchase items that carried both material and spiritual value. Fragments of saints' clothing, small containers of holy water, pressed flowers from monastery gardens, and other blessed objects offered comfort and protection to believers while supporting religious communities. These purchases represented investments in spiritual well-being that complemented more practical economic decisions. Seasonal food preservation created complex economic relationships, where your penny could purchase not only preserved foods, but also access to preservation facilities and expertise. Smokehouses, salt works, and specialized storage facilities offered services that enabled families to extend the value of their food purchases throughout the year. Learning proper preservation techniques often proved more valuable than purchasing already preserved foods, creating educational markets that served long-term household needs. The medieval tradition of storytelling and oral history created entertainment markets where your penny could purchase access to cultural treasures that had been passed down through generations. Professional storytellers, traveling minstrels, and local historians offered performances that combined entertainment with education, preserving community memories while providing social experiences that brought people together around shared cultural heritage. Regional dialects and language variations throughout medieval Europe created markets for translation and communication services that your penny could readily access. Professional interpreters helped facilitate trade between regions where different languages or dialects were spoken, while scribes offered to translate documents and letters for travelers and merchants conducting business across linguistic boundaries. These services enabled economic integration across cultural divisions. The medieval emphasis on personal honor and social reputation created markets for services that helped people maintain their standing within community hierarchies. Clothing repair specialists could restore garments to appropriate conditions for public appearances, while etiquette instructors offered advice about proper behavior in various social situations. Your penny could purchase guidance that helped navigate complex social expectations and maintain respectability. Metalworking techniques reached remarkable levels of sophistication during the medieval period, creating opportunities where your penny could purchase small metal objects that demonstrated extraordinary craftsmanship. Decorative buckles, intricate jewelry, specialized tools, and ornamental fittings all became available through skilled artisans who had devoted years to perfecting their techniques. These purchases connected ordinary people to the highest levels of medieval technological achievement. The medieval calendar of market days and trading periods created rhythmic economic opportunities where your penny could access goods and services that were only periodically available. Traveling merchants brought exotic items during specific seasons, while seasonal craftsmen offered specialized services during appropriate times of year. Understanding these temporal patterns enabled consumers to plan purchases that maximize both value and availability. Professional mourning services and funeral arrangements created markets where your penny could purchase assistance during times of grief and social transition. Mourning women, grave diggers, and funeral musicians offered services that helped families honor their deceased while maintaining appropriate social customs. These services provided both practical assistance and emotional support during difficult periods when normal economic activities might be disrupted. The medieval development of mechanical devices and simple machinery created new categories of services that penny purchasers could access. Clock maintenance, mill repairs, and various forms of mechanical assistance became available as technology gradually advanced beyond purely manual operations. Your coin could purchase access to mechanical expertise that improved productivity and efficiency in various aspects of daily life. Educational materials and learning aids created markets where your penny could purchase tools that enhanced knowledge acquisition and skill development. Simple counting boards, writing tablets, Basic astronomical instruments and educational games all became available to people seeking to improve their understanding of mathematics, science, and other important subjects. These educational investments often provided benefits that lasted throughout entire lifetimes. The medieval tradition of apprenticeship created informal markets where your penny could purchase short-term instruction and guidance from master craftsmen who were willing to share their knowledge for modest fees. These brief learning opportunities allowed people to acquire valuable skills without committing to years of formal apprenticeship, creating flexible educational arrangements that served varying personal circumstances and career goals. International pilgrimage routes created unique economic environments where your penny could purchase goods and services specifically designed for spiritual travelers. Pilgrim staffs, traveling cloaks, protective amulets, and portable food supplies all became available through merchants who specialized in serving religious travelers. These purchases combined practical utility with spiritual significance, creating dual-purpose transactions that served both physical and religious needs. The medieval understanding of medicine and healing created markets where your penny could purchase various forms of treatment and wellness services that reflected both empirical knowledge and spiritual belief. Massage services, herbal baths, therapeutic exercises, and dietary advice all became available through practitioners who combined practical experience with traditional healing wisdom. These services provided comfort and potential health benefits, using approaches that emphasized natural remedies. Professional entertainment reached levels of complexity that created opportunities where your penny could purchase access to performances that combined multiple artistic disciplines. Musicians, dancers, acrobats, and dramatists often collaborated in elaborate presentations that provided sophisticated cultural experiences rivaling anything available in royal courts. These performances served both entertainment and educational purposes while supporting networks of traveling artists. The medieval emphasis on community cooperation created economic relationships where your penny could purchase participation in collective projects that benefited entire neighborhoods or towns. Barn raising, road maintenance, bridge construction, and other community improvement projects often operated through systems where individual contributions of money, labor, or materials combined to achieve results that no single person could accomplish alone. Technological knowledge and trade secrets represented valuable commodities, where your penny could sometimes purchase access to specialized information that enabled improved productivity in various crafts and industries. Master craftsmen occasionally shared technical insights, innovative techniques, or problem-solving approaches that helped other artisans improve their work quality and efficiency. This knowledge economy operated alongside material commerce, creating intellectual markets that fostered technological advancement. The medieval development of record-keeping and documentation created markets where your penny could purchase various forms of written services that helped people manage their affairs more effectively. Basic accounting assistance, contract preparation, inventory management, and correspondence services all became available through professional scribes who understood the growing importance of written records in increasingly complex economic relationships. Seasonal agricultural cycles created economic rhythms where your penny could purchase access to shared equipment and specialized knowledge that improved farming productivity. Plow rental, seed selection advice, harvest timing guidance, and crop rotation planning all became available through agricultural specialists who helped individual farmers achieve better results from their land and labor investments. The medieval tradition of charitable giving and religious obligation created unique purchasing opportunities where your penny could secure spiritual benefits while supporting community welfare. Donations to religious institutions, contributions to charitable works, and participation in community assistance programs all offered ways to use money for purposes that transcended immediate material needs while creating social bonds and spiritual satisfaction. Professional associations and craft organizations created markets where your penny could purchase membership benefits and professional development services that enhanced career prospects and business opportunities. Guild membership, professional certification, networking opportunities, and skill development programs all became available to people seeking to advance their economic circumstances through organized collective action. The gradual development of banking and financial services created opportunities where your penny could access increasingly sophisticated economic tools that extended purchasing power beyond immediate cash holdings. Credit arrangements, investment opportunities, risk-sharing agreements, and financial planning services all became available through emerging financial institutions that understood the growing complexity of medieval commerce. Transportation infrastructure development created markets where your penny could purchase access to improved travel and shipping services that reduced the costs and risks of long-distance economic activities. Bridge tolls, road maintenance fees, harbour services, and shipping arrangements all became available through organisations that invested in infrastructure improvements while creating revenue streams that supported continued development. The medieval concept of hospitality and guest services created economic relationships where your penny could purchase access to accommodation and assistance that extended far beyond simple commercial transactions. Inn services, meal preparation, equipment rental, and travel guidance all became available through hosts who understood that reputation and repeat business depended on providing value that exceeded immediate monetary exchanges. Cultural preservation and artistic patronage created markets where your penny could purchase participation in activities that maintained and developed community cultural heritage. Music lessons, artistic instruction, cultural events, and traditional craft preservation all became available through practitioners who understood the importance of transmitting cultural knowledge across generations while earning modest livings from their expertise. The medieval emphasis on personal relationships and social networks meant that your penny purchases often provided access to informal support systems that offered assistance during times of need. These relationship-based economic arrangements created security networks that helped people weather various crises while building social capital that proved valuable throughout entire lifetimes. Professional consultation services emerged as medieval society became more complex, creating opportunities where your penny could purchase expert advice about legal matters, business decisions, agricultural planning, and other specialized concerns. These advisory services helped ordinary people make informed decisions about important matters while accessing knowledge that would otherwise be unavailable to them. The medieval tradition of seasonal festivals and community celebrations created temporary markets, where your penny could purchase experiences and goods that were only available during specific times of year. Special foods, entertainment services, ceremonial objects, and commemorative items all became available during these periodic gatherings that combined economic activity with social and cultural celebration. As evening deepens around our medieval marketplace and the last merchants begin packing away their wares, we find ourselves surrounded by the gentle sounds of a community settling into peaceful rest, knowing that tomorrow will bring new opportunities to discover what treasures a single penny might unlock in this fascinating world, where every transaction carried the weight of human relationships and the promise of tomorrow's possibilities. And so, as the church bells toll the evening hour and the candlelight flickers against ancient stone walls, we reach the end of our gentle journey through medieval marketplaces, where a single penny held the power to transform daily life in ways that would astonish our modern understanding. From hearty bread that sustained entire families to exotic spices that connected humble villages to distant kingdoms, we've discovered how medieval purchasing power reflected a world where every transaction carried deeper meanings of community, craftsmanship, and human connection. Rest peacefully tonight, knowing that the simple coins in your pocket descend from an age when money itself told stories of adventure, survival, and the endless ingenuity of human commerce.